Hello, welcome to Homeopathic Services. My name is Pierre Fontaine. I've been a professional homeopath for nearly 30 years, and during nearly all that time, I have specialized in autism. I do these video clips on a regular basis, maybe not as regularly as people would wish, but I keep a busy schedule. Be that as it may, I have written three books. The last one is titled The Language of Autism. I believe that book describes autism fully, 95% of what autism is, and how a child on the spectrum or an individual on the spectrum acts and reacts are explained. There is no Autism is no longer a secret, if you will, or an enigma rather. There are a few things I've talked about in the past regarding mistakes that parents make and professionals make. Number one has to do during the winter about giving various different remedies that are commonly given to children, neurotypical children who have colds, runny nose, and cough, and so on. Generally, or very often, a child on the spectrum with a cold will be given a remedy called belladonna. That is for fever and runny nose or cold, okay? Except that for a child on the spectrum, everything changes. For a child on the spectrum, belladonna is never going to help. Belladonna, if you will, is sort of a year one of homeopathic school that takes 4 years. In year one, you can put what we call a repertorization, very neat, very clear, stating the symptoms of the child, and I give belladonna, and the fever goes away. But for a child on the spectrum, things are completely different. And this is what I want to talk about today. Because autism is not understood, and so many remedies are given literally by the truckful. I can receive cases that have been to other homeopath, and it's always the same prescriptions. Either, whether it's for cold or for autism, belladonna, stramonium always given, tuberculinum. Now, these names may be foreign to you if you never used homeopathy. These are the names of remedies we use. And they are very commonly given for children on the spectrum. But they never, ever work. They cannot work. Why does belladonna, for example, which is most likely the remedy given the most often, why can belladonna absolutely never do anything for a child on the spectrum? And this will give you also a glimpse. What I'm going to say is going to give you a glimpse on why it is literally impossible for parents to prescribe for their child. Because for autism, which is the most complicated condition on the face of the earth at this moment, I believe, there needs to be so much knowledge, you see, about homeopathy that even professional homeopaths don't do a proper job. You also need, but you're going to be privy to this, know what autism is. Now, belladonna, to give you an example, is at the very end of an evolution, the evolution of flowering plant. That is DNA. That is genetically, there's a genetic evolution of flowering plants. Belladonna is at the very end of that evolution. It's at the very end of plants. Before flowering plant, there's the evergreen. trees such as Christmas trees, you know. These are the time of dinosaurs. They are before that. So the evolution that starts with algae, by the way, the evolution ends essentially with belladonna, you see? And autism is an illness that strikes at the very beginning of life. So while it looks good to give belladonna, it is absolutely impossible for it to do anything. And loads of belladonna are given every single day to children on the spectrum because no one knows what autism is, except for those who have read my third book, The Language of Autism, which I cannot show you here because I've given my last copy. I will receive some for the next video clip. Autism is very actually simple. You can understand everybody. My third book, The Language of Autism, describes the logic of 75 symptoms of autism, of which there are about 150. I wasn't going to put them all. You get the picture after 75, all right? So the reason why people don't know is because this is not all they do. All I have done is autism for nearly 30 years. And I was privy to some information from the ether, if you will, because I am absolutely convinced I did not even write this book. So autism, in 2 words, to make it very short and simple, because time flies, is conceptual inability. What does that mean? When you don't have concept of eating, for example. Eating is a concept. Survival is a concept. Eating is a concept. If you don't have concept of feeding yourself or receiving, for a baby, receiving nourishment, if you don't have that innate in you, then you're not going to eat. And so therefore, you see problem with breastfeeding in a baby. You will see all kinds of gastrointestinal problems. These are not from viruses. Those gastrointestinal problems are not from viruses, bugs, strep, toxicity of any kind. No, it's not there. It was not prepared because the concept, the ability to eat is not there, you see. The ability to eat is not there. It has nothing to do with an external agent, again, such as strep or whatever people blame these gastrointestinal problems on. There's no concept. And so therefore, again, you're going to see problem with breastfeeding, latching, and only taking the bottles, and even then, or taking the bottles every 20 minutes, or the child needing to be awakened in order to feed. And then later on, it translates into being so-called very picky. The child is not picky. The child doesn't have the concept of eating. The child doesn't have the concept of nourishing himself or herself. And so therefore, the child is not picky, but the child eats only one food, because if you don't have the concept of feeding, one food is good enough. You see? If you don't have the concept of looking at someone as a parent, okay, which children on the spectrum have a difficulty doing, that is the social aspect of it, then there's no point in doing it. You see, that explains why the child looks away. The child doesn't have eye contact, he looks away. Yeah, because the child doesn't have that. It's not certain things that are innate are not proceeding. See, there's nothing wrong in the head. Never seen anything wrong in the head. There's no problem with connections, synapses, and so on and so forth. Nobody has found anything like that. If they did, there would be a medication already for it. No, there's no such a thing. There's nothing wrong at all. It's only what I call the concept is not there. Some people would say some instinct. Part of it is instinct. Feeding is instinct. Moving towards an adult is crawling towards an adult is an instinct, if you will. Okay, so concept includes some instinctual abilities, but here they are inabilities. You see, and that is why that is all autism is. That is combined with with control of situation. Because the child doesn't have, since the child doesn't have this concept, eventually the child, because we see mostly children, okay, the child or the individual will need to control the situation. Need to control the situation. That's why we have tantrums when things are refused. This is not conceptual inability. This is what I call stage 12 in the language of autism. Stage 12 is what people call behavior. The behaviors of autism. What I call action and reaction. We all have action and reaction to any sorts of situation every single day. For a child on the spectrum, the general idea is to control the situation. And if I cannot control, if I cannot have what I want at this moment, then I'm going to have a tantrum because I have to have this. You see, because I'm not understanding what is going on around me. I don't have concept. I'm not understanding what is going on around me. And so therefore, I'm going to control the situation. There is no other way. You see, it's all logical. If you don't understand, you want to control this, you're going to want to control the situation in order to grasp as much as possible. Being on the spectrum, to give you an image of this, being on the spectrum, the action of being on the spectrum, the life of being on the spectrum, the life that is ruled by control of the situation, is like being at the top of a slide. One of those slides, those very big slides with water. There's water at the amusement park. And stage 10 will be, to give you an idea, stage 10 is at the top, goes and has a great time. Stage 11 is having a bit of a problem. He's like this, he can back out. Stage 12 has to control the situation because stage 12 started and then stopped. And so now there's water splashing all over the place. That is why they don't like to have water splash also splash on their faces, usually at the beginning. Okay, eventually they get used to it, but they don't like it because sort of like waterboarding, you have no control when it's like this. That is what the experience is like. And they're grasping for everything in order to be able to get back on top, but they cannot. So they need to control the situation. They need to scream, you see. They need to scream. That is automatic. And so therefore, autism is nothing more than conceptual inability combined with a desire in everyday life to control situations. Not having concept dictates that now I'm going to need to control every situation. I need to have what I want. because I do not understand anything, more or less, given that the spectrum is a range of symptomatology and a range of action and reaction, what we call behaviors, which are not behaviors. That's why ABA can never do anything. They are not behaviors, they are actual symptoms of autism. That's it. That's a mouthful. But that's it for today, because I don't want these videos to go over 15 minutes. Otherwise, people don't listen to them. But do scroll down. I have done a bunch of these to explain what autism is, what parents get wrong. It's really important, because what we get wrong, what we get wrong and we think is right, is two different things. And they lead to a child suffering more, or a teenager, or even, and an adult, of course. Okay, anybody on the spectrum suffers. There's nothing funny. There's nothing that irritates me more than people sort of on TV and looking at kids on the spectrum and invariably, I think because they feel uncomfortable and they just don't know, always laughing. Autism is a very serious matter and entails an enormous amount of suffering, no matter where on the spectrum the individual is extremely painful. It is painful physically in many cases. It is definitely painful emotionally. Imagine a so-called high-functioning individual who has been told many times to behave a certain way but cannot, and so therefore eventually knows that there's something wrong with me. There is something wrong with me. Eventually they get to that. That's why they don't like to be recorded on video. You see, here's another so-called behavior explained. Everything is understood, and because everything is understood, then prescribing accurately for a child or a teenager on the spectrum has become a lot more efficient, if you will. There's much less in terms, much less mistakes, if you will, in terms of giving a remedy and making a movement forward. Making a movement forward in the sense that we move out of conceptual inability, and all we need to do is return ability. That is all the treatment of autism should be. Not detox, not aggravation, so-called good for the child because it's coming out. I don't know, I've never seen anything come out, and nobody has ever seen anything come out either. Okay, truly, this is what needs to be done. We all have concept. Neurotypical has ability of concept. Autism is an inability of concept, and that needs to return. That is all that needs to do. When that begins to return, autism goes away. Thank you very much. Hold on. I see a. What is your secret? You haven't aged at all. Well, thank you very much. I don't have a secret. Well, I treat myself with homeopathy. That seems to be the. That's all I can do. That is all I can do. This is my hair too. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. See you soon. Hopefully next week. See, I don't want to repeat the same thing all the time, and so it becomes. I want to say something new. Here, the issue with belladonna was it's absolutely crucial that everybody stops giving belladonna to kids on the spectrum. Okay, it's just not where it is at. Okay, belladonna again is at the very end of flower of plant evolution, and so therefore it absolutely cannot be that a child on the spectrum in other words, it's a child. Autism strikes early in life. Early in life. It cannot be belladonna. It simply cannot be belladonna. There can be adults on the spectrum, okay, because they were born this way. By the way, I hear people say, "Oh, this basketball player is on the spectrum." No, that is not possible. That is absolutely not possible. Okay, once we know what autism is, it is absolutely impossible for a basketball player to be on the spectrum. Simple as that. I mean, truly as simple as that. Uh, uh, I can explain that further next time. It's going long now. Thank you so very much for listening. The website is homeopathic services.com. Homeopathic services.com. You'll find my books there and ways to get in touch with me via email or phone. Thank you so very much for listening. See you soon.